Hi, and welcome to another episode of Relax, I Got This. I'm Robin McCoy, a Texas realtor with Keller Williams, and we have a lender, Karla Corcoran, on the show today. And I feature a lot of lenders because, along with the agent, we are the first two people you need to be speaking with when purchasing a home and getting the process started. So stay tuned, listen to a little bit what Karla has to say, and welcome to Relax, I Got This.
A real estate transaction is potentially the largest investment we make in our lives. Whether you're buying and selling your personal home or investing in real estate, you need the knowledge to make the right decisions. Get ready. Robin is a Texas realtor and has the experience to give you the information you need to make the right decisions. Welcome to Relax, I Got This with your host, Robin McCoy.
Hi, everyone. It's Robin McCoy, and we are back with another episode of Relax, I Got This. And I just want to introduce Karla Corcoran. I stumble over her name sometimes, Corcoran. And she is with Groves Captial and has been in the mortgage business since 1997. Hey, Karla, how are you doing?
Hey, Robin, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I want to say that Karla is not only one of my lender partners, she's also one of my clients. We've had some transactions over the last few years, and she's always just been a joy to work with. So I'm
Thank
happy
you,
to
Robin.
have her on the show. And I know we do a lot with lenders, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on with lending when you're
Right.
purchasing a house. And everybody approaches it a little differently. It's like picking a realtor. You want somebody that you can relate to, that you feel like you can talk to, that you trust, and things like that. And so that's why I got so many lenders that I
Right.
have come on the
Right.
show, because we just have to learn about this stuff. And I don't talk about what I don't do, and I don't do mortgages. I just have good people
Right. And
around
I
me.
don't sell houses. And I don't list houses.
So you know what? It's important to have a good team around you no matter what you're doing. So that's what we're here doing today.
Very good. Very good. So, yeah. And, so that, people work with who they know and who they trust. Right.
Yes.
And at the end of but you also have to work with somebody that has a good connection with you. So
Yes.
when you pick your lender, first you're going to your realtor because your realtor knows me and trusts me and says, you know what, I know Karla, that'd be a good fit, or I know so-and-so, they'd be a good fit for what you're looking for. And so what's the difference with all those different lenders, right?
Yeah.
I used to work for a company that was what they called consumer direct. Well, what did that mean? So that meant that I sat at a desk, I put a headset on, and ring, ring, ring. Hi, this is Karla. How can I help you? So the loans were coming to me, right?
Okay. So that you're taking basically inbound calls from wherever they were finding the number of this company for
Exactly.
whatever
So
advertising or marketing was going
out
on.
and had different avenues to advertise, right? And so they were called consumer direct, right?
Okay.
And so sometimes people would say, well, are you going to service my loan when you're done? In that case, no, we didn't.
Right. And a lot don't. A lot of
No, they
companies
don't.
They sell it out onto the market.
We're good at lending. We're not good at servicing. That's not our niche, right? And so it's sometimes you have to, educate people and share that information and let them know, hey, here's what I'm good at. I'm going to put you in the loan that meets your needs, that meets your payment requirement. We're going to get you closed on time. Those are all important parts of the picture, but it's just a part. When it's over, you're going to start making payments. And when you do, we don't know today who you're going to make those payments to, right? Because there's a number of companies out there, and that's not something that I'm totally familiar with. I've worked in the service industry. My first job, customer service, working for a mortgage company, right? But what I do know is that we're going to sell their loan to somebody who is responsible, somebody that we know and trust, right? So that know and trust trickles down every step of the way. You work with a realtor that you know and trust. That realtor works with lenders that they know and trust. The lender works with servicing companies that they know and trust.
It's all about that team that you have around you, right?
Yes.
It's who, I vet the lenders that I work with.
Right.
In that, like you said, I trust you. I know that you will keep me apprised of the situation, that communication won't be an issue, that we'll get to the closing table on time, that you'll find the product that's best for this particular buyer. So
Exactly.
that's what's important at the end of the day.
Right.
Not what is the most convenient necessarily.
Well,
right?
exactly.
This is a big investment, right? Oftentimes, this is the largest single purchase anybody is going to make in their life.
Right. And
you don't want to just go, well, let me just go find this.
Right. Nobody wants a mortgage, but everybody wants a house.
Yes.
I think that's what,
yeah.
But it's part of the process. We don't all just have cash that we can throw out there and move in, right? Most people, like 80% people probably take out a mortgage when they buy their home.
At least.
And, so, kind of getting back then to, well, how do I decide who I'm going to go with? You have a lot of choices.
Yeah.
And when you talk to me or anybody else out there, you get to decide, right? You as the consumer decide, you know what? I had a really great conversation with Karla or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
She took the time to explain everything to me. I have a clear understanding of what to expect moving forward. I know that she's going to communicate. She's going to call me every Tuesday because she told me she would.
Yeah.
And she's also going to call my realtor every Tuesday. And she's going to call the listing agent every Tuesday. Right.
Yeah.
And so she's set a clear path. Now, when you're out there and you think, well, I've been banking at, ABC forever. Why wouldn't I just go to them? Well, you can.
Because they are great at servicing.
They're
not great at origination.
They're great at, they manage my money just fine, right? When I use my ATM card, they know how to do it.
Yeah. That's what I tell people when they do want to go to a big bank, and I'm not going to name names, but, banks are great for what banks are good for, and I'm talking about the bank where you go get your checking account and you get your savings account. And some of these banks may, in fact, be one that ends up servicing your loan.
Right.
But ultimately, they're great at service. They're great at managing that end of it. They're just not great at the front part because they're so big typically.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just so big that you can't get the individual attention that you can get with a local lender here in the North Texas area that knows the market here, that works on the same time zone you do. I mean, that's important, right? If somebody's in California, that's a 2 to 3 hour difference, depending on, where you are. And it makes a difference.
Right.
And they may not work weekends, but guess what? Real estate works weekends.
They do. And guess what? Lenders like me who work from home, we work late too, because we want to be there to support you. Right. Yeah. And so I've created a schedule for myself. I know that if I work until 7 o'clock every night, I'm going to be able to contact borrowers that normally would be working during the day, and I don't have to interrupt their day. So I have the opportunity I can schedule things, right? And it doesn't disrupt my day. It doesn't disrupt my family because I have a schedule in place.
You figured it out. Yeah.
I figured it out.
Well, let's talk a little bit. We were just talking about, you said you used to work for, I think you called it Consumer Direct.
Consumer Direct, right.
And then there are brokers, and there are retail, and there are wholesale. There's all kinds of different, I guess when you get out, let's get out of the direct consumer.
Yeah.
And let's get out of the bank, right? Your national banks and all of that. So we know about those. But now there's these other little categories that somebody will say, well, I'm a wholesale lender, or I'm a retail lender, or I'm a broker, or I'm a bank. I'm not Wells Fargo, B of A, Chase, that you would go in and get a checking account, but I'm still a bank.
Right. Right.
Let's figure that out.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing, right? And so, again, it comes down to education and knowing what your options are. As a borrower, you have the ability to go to a number of different resources, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's actually 8 different categories, and we won't discuss them all because it's confusing, and confused borrowers don't buy, and they don't go through the process. They're like, oh, that's done. I'm out of here.
Too hard. It's too hard.
No. So confused borrowers, move on to the next. So, I think what we want to do today is just kind of clarify a few things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, you have lenders that fall underneath broker, retail, which is like your brick and mortar, right? You walk in and you sit down, face to face with someone and you take out a loan. You have direct lenders, also a bank, but they're in a brick and mortar, but you don't go sit down with them.
Right.
Right. So kind of call center environment, right? Like what I was doing previously. And then you have, you have portfolio. Doesn't really apply to us unless we're looking for something really outside the box.
Right.
And that's when you would come to someone like me because I'm a broker. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, it means that I have relationships I have the ability to shop for different products.
Okay.
I have at my disposal, I can go to over 160 different lenders, right,
Okay.
who are wholesale, and I'm their customer, right?
Okay.
And so, they're my underwriting team, they're my processing team when I use their services. And so
Okay.
I have the ability to shop with multiple lenders, right? So I'm kind of like a middleman.
Okay.
Right. And so you
Okay.
come to me, but the process is still the same. I take your application. I call you every Tuesday. I would stay, I hold your hand till the very end. I do the same thing with your realtor, right? Realtors are my customers. Consumers are my customers, right?
So you're kind of the facilitator, right? So you go out to ABC lender, whoever that may be.
Right.
And like you said, there's hundreds of them out there.
Right.
And me as a borrower, I come to you to make sure that you are shopping for what I need and finding me the best opportunity for me at this point in time.
Exactly. Right. And so, instead of going to a large company that you can fill your information out online and you have 20 different lenders calling you, trying to gain your business, you have one person and I'm doing that shopping for you in so many words. Right.
Right.
And so my job is to make sure that I have a good connection with these companies. Who are they? Do they work well? Do they have good turn time? Are they going to answer my calls? Right. Because I'm their customer. And so that helps me determine, well, I know that this is a good fit for this wholesale lender. And I know who they are. I know if I have an issue, I know who to call. If I have a question, a scenario, right? And so, what that says for me and what it does for my consumer is one-stop shopping, so to speak. Right. Yep. So I can, a borrower calls me, for example, Robin said, hey, give Karla a call. She's going to put you in the loan that you're looking for. And so I'm going to talk to that borrower and I'm going to collect information just like you would anywhere else. Right. We're going to fill out an application. I'm going to pull your credit. I'm going to analyze your income and we're going to have a consultation, right? We're going to talk about what is in it for you. What do you want this loan to look like? How do I match that? Right. And then I take that information and I, research and I call them back and say, hey, here's what we've got. Here's the loan. Here's the rate. Are you ready to move forward? I think this is a good deal for you. They know and trust me. Yeah. They're like, Karla said it's a good deal. Let's go.
And that's one of the things I do too with my borrowers is obviously, we talk about real estate. Often I get calls that say, I just want to go look at this house. Mm-hmm. And it's very important as a potential home buyer to know not only where you want to live, but how do you want to live in that house, right?
Right.
We don't live in the list price. We live in the payment and we live in the floor plan and we live in the smaller pieces of it. And so it's important in this process to, okay, I have my consultation. Your next step is to call a lender. Let's see where we are on the affordability, on the comfort level, because just because you can afford a $800,000 house doesn't mean you want an $800,000 house payment.
Exactly.
So, there's a lot of things that can go into that. And so that's why it's important to have these consultations, not only with your realtor, but with your lender. So we're all on the same page.
Right.
Because you're over here doing a loan for, I don't know, $600,000, but I'm over here shopping in the $800,000 range, or worse in the I'm $20,000 or $200,000 off what you're doing.
And that can make a big difference, to a homeowner who's getting ready to purchase the home of their dreams, and then find out, oh, I really can't afford that, or that's too much house for me, or I can afford more.
Right.
Right.
Oh, I guess we're not finding what we like at this level. That's when I say, okay, well, go call Karla and see if how much room you've got.
Right.
Because we're going to need another 20,000 to get that extra bedroom so that you can have an office or whatever.
Right.
That you're not finding at this price point. We're going to have to go up. So now we got to make sure where that affordability lands.
Exactly.
And that's why communication is huge with your lenders. It's huge.
Absolutely. So, this time around, since I'm a broker, I'm kind of on my own, right? It's like running my own business.
Mm-hmm.
And so a big change for me going from consumer direct to being a broker was being organized.
Yeah.
How do I do all this? How do I do all this and make sure that I am fulfilling everyone's needs? I need to pursue new business, but at the end of the day, when I get that business, I have to take care of it. I need to know what to do with it. And I need to know how to follow up with them. I need to know who to talk to. And so one thing that I'm doing differently now that I've never done before is I'm following what I call a daily success plan. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I went to a group that I know and trust who could help me. I'm like, hey, this is what I'm doing now. How do I make this work? Karla, here it is. We've done this. It's proven it works. Try it. You'll like it. Right. So it's an adjustment for me because I know that every Monday between 9 and 11, there's a sign on my door and it says, do not disturb me.
Tells the family to leave you alone.
It does. If the dogs could read it and know not to bark during that time, it'd be great.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
It would.
Never fails, right?
I just bring them in the office with me and like, okay, children, be quiet. I'm going to work now. So I know every Monday I'm calling my realtors. Hey, how was your weekend? And it's not just about, how was your weekend? Do you have anything that I can work for you? It was, how was your weekend? Did you work? Did you play?
Well, and that's where relationships come in.
And we are going to ask, right? Because if we don't ask, we don't work together. But I want to make sure that I develop, a good relationship. I want to know who I'm working with. You guys want to know who you're working with. I want to know who my realtors are. Because I'm going to, hopefully, unfortunately, I don't get as many referrals that I can give to realtors. It's like, they don't go to the insurance agent first and say, hey, I'm buying a house. How much is my insurance going to be?
Right.
They go to you want to buy a house, you go to the realtor. The realtor then says, hey, before we move forward, you're going to need to talk to Karla. Right. Okay. And then I'm going to say, guess what? You're going to need insurance for this home. Go talk to this person.
It's a total daisy chain team, Yeah.
And how do I manage all that? Well, there's people that I want to stay in touch with. I want to keep in touch with people I know and trust. I want them to know and trust me. So that's like my motto right now. Know and trust.
Is this the year that you're going to stop paying rent? Is this the year that you are going to finally purchase your own home? But where do you start? How do you get your questions answered? Well, I'm Robin McCoy, and I'm a Texas realtor with Keller Williams. Relax, I got this. I have a home buyers masterclass the first Saturday of every month, and it's free to you, and it's all online. Just text the word masterclass to 214-226-3770, and we'll get you registered and on the path to home ownership.
I want to keep in touch with people I know and trust. I want them to know and trust me. So that's like my motto right now, know and trust. And so Mondays,
and that is it. I mean, that's what it is, right? I give people typically a list of 3 to 4 lenders, and I say, call these people, talk to them, see who you resonate with.
Yeah.
Every one of them has, it takes, for me, it doesn't take much to fall off the list if you screw up my buyer, right? I mean,
I'm sure.
My buyer gets screwed up. I would, because I can't refer them to somebody else, right? So the people, what I'm getting to is the people on this list, I trust that we're going to get to the closing table with as minimal speed bumps, hiccups, fences to
As
climb over
possible.
as possible.
Exactly.
Now, the
And
reverse of
so
that too.
So
Oops.
on Tuesdays, when I say, hey, I know that I'm going to call you every Tuesday, that's what I do on Tuesdays, right? I call my realtor, I call my, borrower, I call my co-borrower, because sometimes the borrower has a question that maybe Mr. or Mrs. hasn't thought about, right? And so I check in with everyone. I want everybody to be on the same page. And so on Tuesdays, I'm doing my follow-up days, right?
Yeah.
And on Wednesday, I'm, reaching out to all of my other, business partners, my insurance agents, my title companies, past database, right?
Sure.
Thursdays, people are getting ready to maybe go look at houses that weekend. I've given them a pre-approval. So I'm going to call my pals, pre-approved and looking.
Yep.
Okay. And so what is that? And then that leaves Friday wide open, right? So I have nothing planned on Friday. But that's okay, because then I'm available. I can catch up on different things. And if I have a realtor who's got, Karla, I'm going to be alone in this house this weekend. Can you come hang out with me? You bet. I'm there.
Yeah. That's the other,
So that's my daily success plan.
Well, and it works. It works because you have a plan.
That's right.
And I think that's the way, home buyers and borrowers need to think about things, right? We have a plan. We don't just wake up and say, I'm going to go buy a house, and then you go buy a house.
Right.
Now, some people do, and it works out successfully. It's just like somebody goes on a blind date and they marry the guy in 3 weeks or something. It happens. And I'm not saying it won't and it won't be successful, but the most successful are when we put certain pieces in place where we understand the process. And we understand that our lenders aren't asking for things they don't need. They wouldn't ask you for all those bank statements or those tax returns. They didn't have to have them.
Right.
And so by providing the information that they need up front and when asked for, it just speeds the process. It helps the process. It gets you to the closing table on time, which is ultimately what we're all trying to do.
There's a number of goals, and you don't get paid if they don't close. I don't get paid if they don't close, and the borrower doesn't move into their house.
Yes, that's right.
Right. We're a team.
So we all have we've got a very, I can't think of the word, a lot of buy-in to get this to happen. I think what's important is we, as a borrower, that trust your agent to know, and it doesn't mean that if I've got a borrower and a buyer that their sister is a lender, that we can't use that sister. That's not what I mean. That is not at all what I mean.
Right.
But what I'm saying is when you come in and you say, well, I was just going to go where my checking account is, let's look at that again.
And Robin, too, and I'm sure you probably share this, is that, that's great. I'm glad your sister's a loan officer. I don't know her. Just understand that if there's hiccups along the way, I don't control that. I don't have a connection with that person, right? And you got to make sure that they understand that might be a little bit of a risk. I'm sure your sister does a great job. Let's hope everything goes good.
Yeah, and it probably will. It probably will. There's also things, there are things when choosing a lender, and a realtor for about, anywhere between from day one to the next 30 to 90 days, we're kind of up in each other's Kool-Aid, right? Yeah. We know about your money. We know about, I'm in a house with the borrowers and I start hearing how they talk and the kids and so we're kind of up in each other's business for anywhere between 1 and usually 90 days, usually less.
Yeah.
So it's important that when you're choosing the realtor and the lender and these people, that you feel comfortable with them being all up in your Kool-Aid.
That's right. Exactly.
So I had a friend one time, she called me and she said, Robin, we're buying a house but I'm not going to use you. And because I am going to use somebody I don't know. Because if I want to be a brat, I need to be a brat. And I'm like, look, I can handle brat. She goes, yeah, but I can't. And I said, okay, fine, fair enough. Because what's important is they are working with someone that they feel like they can be open with, they can be themselves with, they
Exactly.
can
Exactly.
those things.
You
So,
know, in all the time that I've written a mortgage loan, I have never written a loan for a family member. Their
you know,
choice, you know. But
yeah,
I think it's good though, because that's a Thanksgiving conversation you don't want to have,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. Because now all
You
of a
know,
sudden
or
you
you
know
know,
their
Chris or
finances.
Chris, right? You know everything, and you open your Christmas present, and you're like, seriously, I've seen your checkbook. Come on, you know, this wasn't a
What you're
white elephant exchange.
yeah. What, you're going on vacation, really? I
Right,
thought you were buying a
right.
house, that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So,
exactly. So there, yeah, I have good reason, and I'm sure my family has good reason for not sending it to me as well, and
yeah,
I'm good with that.
you know what, we can't,
Send me your
and
neighbors,
and
send me
that's the
your
other thing
friends.
is don't feel bad if you don't choose to use your sister, your aunt, your cousin, your brothers, your husband's
Exactly,
wife,
exactly,
friend, neighbor, whatever. This is as a home buyer, this is purely and solely your decision on who you
exactly.
use to make this purchase.
Right. Who do
It's
you
a
know?
big
Who do
deal.
you trust? Who can you know? Who's going to buy your Christmas present? Right.
It's a big deal.
So we just threw another element in there, right? Are you going
Right.
to have a relationship with this person later, and how do you feel about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you working with
So,
somebody that you're going to say, because I'm going to continue to call you and I'm going to check in because I want to make sure that you're still doing okay. I
yeah.
haven't just wrote a loan for you. I've started a relationship, right? And I want to be able to call you in 6 months and say, hey, how's the house? Send me some
Yeah.
pictures. How are the kids? You
Yeah.
got grandkids now? Oh my gosh. Do you
Yeah.
have enough room? Oh, you
Ex
don't like it? Well, have you talked to Robin? Because maybe we need to reevaluate,
I mean, do
you
something
know?
different, right? So,
Right.
and
Right.
that's what's
You
important
bought
about
a
it.
condo and you don't like it, and now you want to move to Sherman?
We thought we would like living in a condo. We don't.
Right.
That's a real
Robin?
life experience, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, she's having twins. I need more space.
Exactly. So, all
Right?
right, Karla. Well, what else, what kind of one final little gem or piece of information that you would like to drop on people just to get them thinking about when they're approaching this in the next few months? Because conversations happened at Thanksgiving and they're going to happen again at Christmas.
Yep.
What's like one or two little gems that you want people to keep in mind?
Don't be afraid to ask. Don't think that rate is going to stop you from qualifying. Everything is temporary, even your loan. Right?
That's a good point.
Your home is a long-term investment, more than likely. Your mortgage doesn't have to be, right? We put you in the loan that meets your needs today. And if those needs change and if your interest rates change, we change that for you.
We
We come
think.
back, we keep a relationship, right? And
Yeah.
so, don't be afraid or don't think, oh, I can't afford a house right now.
Because
You might be
it's
able to
because
talk to
everything
someone first.
evolves. Everything
Talk to
evolves,
someone
right?
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk.
Yeah.
Conversations are free and knowledge
Right.
is power.
Exactly. And don't think of your lender as your salesperson. There might be some, you know, big companies out there that are very salesy. I'm not one of them. I don't think any of the lenders you work with are probably, get her done there, get her done,
Yeah.
right? We're more, I mean, I think we all have the same common goal. We want to help you get, answers to your questions, put you in the loan that makes sense for you, get you in the home of your dreams, close you on time, right? And we're a team. So if you think you can't afford a home right now, make sure you ask for some advice
Yeah.
first. And maybe you can't afford a home right now. Maybe you can afford more because rates have dropped a little bit, right? So who knows? You have all the
Yeah,
options out there. Work with somebody you know and trust. If that's
exactly.
me, great. If it's another lender, great. Definitely work with Robin. She's an awesome one, no
Oh,
doubt.
you're amazing. All right. Well, Karla, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. I really
Oh, it's been
appreciate
my
it.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And who you're in business with matters. So thank you for tuning in to Relax, I Got This. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode, and we'll hit you next time.
Thanks for joining us for Relax I Got This with Texas Realtor Robin McCoy. Check out all the show notes for contact information on Robin and our guests and to access your free buyer and seller guides. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a conversation. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Relax I Got This with Robin McCoy.